Hi there, this is Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club. I'm making a layout today using the April kits. So I have the April main kit, the pocket knife kit, the embellishment kit and the colour kit. I'm also using a cut file. It's in the free downloads in the April download section of the website, and it's the fabulous Wheelbarrow by Kim Watson. It's available for subscribers only. So I've cut it twice, but I've taken off the bottom of the wheelbarrow and just used the flower basket. And my assignment today is to have a Mother's Day theme, which I have photos of where I took my mum out for Mother's Day with my daughter as well. The other assignment I have to do is to incorporate a cut file, but I have to use the negative of the cut file. So what I've done is I've cut the cut file twice from white cardstock. It's actually marshmallow cardstock, and I'm going to use texture paste over the top of the and use them as a stencil effectively, so I get the negative impression on the paper. So what I'm doing there is using the April colour kit and the Lindy's Magicals, and I'm adding powder to some texture paste, and I used a texture paste that we got in a previous kit by Prima. It's like a modelling paste, and I've just put it onto a craft sheet and mixed it in with the powder, and now what I'm doing is I'm just putting put the two stencils at the bottom of my cardstock, and I'm just applying texture paste over the top of it, and I'm just really going random. I just wanted the pink and the orange together to give a nice pretty look to this at the bottom of the layout. So my plan is to have the rest of the layout, the photos and the embellishments, at the top of the layout above these two pieces at the bottom. So I've just done that now, and I am going to peel off the two stencils that I've used. Actually, it didn't come off as well as I hoped. I thought it would just come off really easily, but it didn't, and it ripped in places. But yeah, so there I struggled to get it off, and there's a few bits that left there, but there you go, that is done now. So I'm just going to leave that to dry, and hopefully I'll put my layout above those flower baskets. Okay, so this is a couple of hours later and it's all completely dry, and now I'm going to see if I can attempt to build a layout above these flower baskets. So I've got my photos. I love the flowers that came in this month's kit, the April kit. Beautiful Paige Evans Horizon floral ephemera, absolutely beautiful. Flowers, flowers and more flowers. So I'm just going to see if I can layer those up. The texture paste has come out quite dark, so as it's dried, I used quite a lot of the Lindy's Magicals powders, and it gave me quite an intense colour on my texture paste. And actually you can see I'm really struggling to make this work because the bottom half of the layout seems so dry, so dark. I really struggled to bring in the colours and also make my photos work. So you can see I'm doing a few attempts trying to figure something out, trying to brighten up the bottom of the layout with bright flowers. It's just not working for me. So at this point I decide I'm going to bin this and start again. So this is a few more hours later, and I went off and made another layout entirely for a different assignment completely, but I've then come back to this. I was actually scrapbooking with a group of friends, and they kept saying to me, "Oh Niki, this is lovely, it looks really cool, I love the way the stencils worked and the texture paste has worked." And it's like, I know, but I just can't make it work in a layout. I was really, literally going to put it in the bin, and they persuaded me not to. So I decided to try again, and that's what I'm doing now. So instead of keeping those two baskets at the bottom of the layout like I had originally intended, I'm fussy cutting them out so that I have two large elements that I can move around. And to be honest, that's much more my style. They look 100 times better. But now I don't know what to do with those flowers, like those layouts. I didn't have that as part of my plan. So I was just playing with a couple of different pattern papers there to see what I could do. I was really planning to focus on the orange and the pink, but because the texture paste has come out quite dark, it's really quite orange. It's more like terracotta and actually a bit brown colour, which is really not my thing. So in order to work with this, I decided to lighten it by introducing bright coloured paper. So I've got that bright colour horizon paper border around the background of this layout, and I'm going to bring in lots of yellow flowers and other bits to brighten it up a bit and give it lots of colour and lots of energy, instead of this darker, deep orange, almost brown colour that's very predominant at the moment on those two stencils. So you can see that this immediately works better. I've got the two baskets layered over each other. I can tuck my photos behind them. I can then build up with the flowers, and it's now starting to feel like a layout that I can save, I can work with. It's feeling more like something that I would create, as opposed to that big orange area at the bottom of the layout, which I just didn't like it. And it's very rare for me to abandon something partway through. Normally I can save most things, so I'm glad that I persevered and did eventually get there. So here's that lovely, beautiful, bright paper that I'm using as a background, and I'm taking the middle out so that I can use that for something else, and I'm going to stick a white background onto there, so that I have basically a white background with a colourful border going around the outside. I was contemplating having a wider border at the top and the bottom, but in the end I decided to stick with, there you go, you can see me just trying to work out whether I should have a larger border, but actually I decided to go with a regular 1/4 inch border all the way around. So basically my white cardstock is trimmed down to 11.5 inches square. Okay, so I'm starting off by getting those two baskets stuck in place. I've just stuck them across the bottom at the moment with some tape, so now I can reposition them if I want to, or I did need to there. I needed to bring them down a bit lower, and I can now tuck my photos behind the leaves at the top. So now I'm just going to continue to build up my layout with flowers and more flowers, and other bits and pieces to cover up a bit of that orange to make it slightly less orange, but also to make it brighter, so to introduce the yellow. The yellow really lifts this colour completely, absolutely, really makes such a huge difference. So I am really cheating here by using those beautiful flowers from Paige Evans Horizon, the floral ephemera, because they're all just pre-cut for me. I don't need to do any fussy cutting. They're all cut out beautifully, and it's so easy, isn't it, to make a layout using these flowers. You can just layer them up and you're good to go. It's all done, all the hard work is done for you. So how awesome is that? I had a layered tag in a different layout that I pulled the layered part off. I used the tag, but I pulled the layered part off. So I've just put that little layered bit underneath the photo on the left-hand side. And I'm just going through and adding in some leaves as well. So I think the lime green really lifts the layout as well. So the yellow and the lime green all goes really well with the orange colour, and it just lifts it up and makes it so much brighter. So I'm getting all those stuck in place. I tend to stick my flowers so that they're stuck flat where they're tucked under a photo or under the die cut in this case, and then raised up with foam pads as they are further out towards the edge of the layout. I love my layouts to have lots of dimension, so that's why I use foam risers a lot. They are a bit of a labour of love because they take ages to put on and peel off, but I love them, so I'll use them forever, I think. So there we are. I'm still going, layering up all of these bits and pieces, all of these flowers. They're mostly all stuck in place now. I decided that I wanted to keep the top half of the layout pretty white, so above the photos I don't put much by way of embellishment above the photos, because it needed a bit of white space around the edge. It's a pretty large cluster I've got going on there, so I think I'm just adding those little strawberries at the top there, and that's literally all I do. I really loved that that title on the Dear Lizzie sheet, Sweetness Everywhere, but it was a little bit too light. It didn't really work with the very busy background that I had going on, so in the end I decided to use some thickers. I'm just adding some bits from that foiled die cut by Maggie Holmes Sunny Days. There's a butterfly there and I've already added a leaf. I think I've got a bird left and that's it. Going through and adding some hearts from the Dear Lizzie sticker sheet there. I've also added the bicycle at the bottom there. I don't get those in very often, but as it was flowers and flowers live in baskets on bikes, I figured it was fine. And I'm using the word happy from the Paige Evans Horizon chipboard elements, and then I wanted to call this cake happy or cupcake happy, but I couldn't get cupcake happy. I couldn't get cupcake above happy. It didn't look right over the stencil, so I've put that underneath, happy cupcakes instead. They were very happy cupcakes. So yeah, that's all come together pretty well. I'm just adding a few last few pieces. I love these exclusive stickers, puffy stickers by Hip Kit Club. They are completely awesome. They have some beautiful sayings in and beautiful colours. So I'm just going through and adding a few more of those. The words are lovely as well. They really work well with the sentiment of this layout. And you just see that there I just stuck my photos down, the top half of my photos. I needed they weren't stuck flat at this point, so I just put some foam risers underneath them to give them some dimension. And now I'm adding some flicks of paint. So I'm using the Lindy's Magical Shakers in the peach colour, and I've just added a small amount of water to that, and then using my paintbrush I'm adding some flicks of colour just around the two areas where the sprays of flowers come out from either side. So that is me done. I'm just handwriting in my journaling, and I think off screen I think I might have done it already. I've also stitched through the word happy and the word cupcakes just with a really quick row on the sewing machine with white thread just to keep them in place. So that's me finished. I eventually got there. This layout was nearly destined for the rubbish bin, but thankfully I got there in the end, and I'm quite happy with the result. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.